Hardly Sound is brought to you by Sabrina Q. Mikan, dedicated to highlighting the life stories of musicians and artists who enrich the culture of Austin, Texas. Real Ale Brewing Company. Real Ale incorporates 100% malted grain, domestic and imported hops, and crystal clear water to create unique recipes. Find Real Ale all over Texas at your favorite bars, restaurants, and stores. Real Ale Brewing Company. Handcrafted ales from the Texas Hill Country. Kong Screen Printing. Kong Screen Printing specializes in high-quality art design, screen-printed apparel, and paper prints for bands, businesses, nonprofit organizations, schools, and sports leagues. Kong Screen Printing. Information at kongscreenprinting.com. A generous donation from Brad and Maggie Markham. And the Hardly Sound Alliance.
So long, too much time on the phone. I love that she'd be in bed and then play games in our head. Give me one little touch, baby. Let's spend the night instead and make me fall off the bed.
Ryan and Grady have been playing together for 15 years. This strikes me as a staggeringly long time for any kind of relationship. The only thing I've been able to hold on to for 15 years is a pair of baggy swim trunks, and that's only because I can't, in good conscience, give them to Goodwill or throw them away. But to be friends with someone for 15 years and still enjoy their company and still find a way to create music with them seems genuinely impossible. After all, you can't stuff a friendship into the back of a drawer only to be seen on days when you're giving the dog a bath. People are a tricky proposition. I think this is why I do what I do, why I sit in front of the computer for hours on end, writing and editing and crafting. That way I can't be let down or let anyone else down. It's just me and a story. Ryan and Grady are doing fine, though. Maybe the key is to start a band with all of your friends. That's never turned out badly for anyone, right?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, right away there is this really high-pitched noise. I had a Holga camera, and I brought in just the flash attachment, and when you put it close up to like a guitar pickup, it like picks up on that noise. That when you hit the flash, it goes. I remember just kind of doing this thing with the hi-hat, like, because it was like just a very minimal thing just to kind of hear what he was playing. Then I think I maybe kind of started to do something a little different, and he was like, no, I like that. The song is roughly based on the Goon comic written by Eric Powell. The character Goon in the song is it's a hero, but he doesn't really know his own strength, and he thinks he's doing good, but he's probably doing more harm than good. Sorry. The fights that Gray and I have constantly, I hate his guts. No, like I can't believe we've been making music. Like, I can't believe in the most positive sense that we've been making music together for this long. Whenever we go on stage, it's two people who have known each other for more than 15 years, and that's why it sounds the way it does.
an eye for an ear, one daughter for a
But I think Ryan's got a very unique skill set because he's a great writer and he's a great guitar player and he's a dynamic singer. Usually people are one or two of those things.
It's different every time, how much I look at Grady. Sometimes, some shows we're just looking at each other the whole time, and others I don't. I see him before the show and I see him after the show. I don't talk to him. I talk to him with my instrument.
There are no mistakes. Like RTB2 doesn't mess up. That was just more a way of telling each other take a chance, mess it up.
We never thought of ourselves. I know we're two people, obviously, but we didn't think of ourselves as a duo. We just thought of ourselves as a band. We just happen to have two people. But, it's Grady and I. That's the band. Way too many guitars. And that's the end of the song.
Excited.
They'll totally calm down. See? See? Boots, boots. Do whatever you really want to do. No, you don't. Yeah, surprise me.
This is Ryan and Rosie. That just sounds good, doesn't it? Ryan and Rosie.
Yeah, I've done it a couple times before, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I watched a couple of YouTube videos.
These are names that a first-time novelist would give to their two lead characters, only to be criticized for being too precious.
You cutting off my gray hairs? I'm proud of those. Oh yeah, our first date? We bought fast food.
We bought fast.
And we talked awkwardly about stuff. Thanks for doing this. Do you like doing it? Yes?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Oh no, Boots.
Boots, are you? Oh, Boots, no. Yeah? It's supposed to stick up. And I just wanted to play da na 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 na, and I wanted to play bum 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 bum. I just wanted to do that. The first band I ever played in was with Grady. Grady had long hair. He looked like a 12-year-old hippie girl. I've become a little jaded and since, just with kind of booking shows, and it's kind of all worth it just to be playing with friends and being up on stage and acting silly. Or serious or whatever, theatrics. Just kind of performing, it's a lot of fun. It's just kind of emoting your art. I don't know how to explain it. It's just, when you're about to perform, maybe I'm allowed to be someone else or someone that I am inside that is able to come out. Maybe I'm a junkie, an expression junkie. I don't know. But yeah, I've had trouble. There's been moments recently where the moment pops into your head where it's just I probably wrote my last song. And it's disturbing and comforting at the same time. No, I come up with ideas driving to work. I whisper them into my phone or whatever recording apparatus that I have around. So I'm just gonna play it, I guess.
I loved this about my 3-day trip to Denton. It was a nice city filled with nice people. This is one of the benefits of working within the framework of nonfiction.
I like when I lose my breath.
There's an expectation in fiction that people need to be disturbed or broken so that they can go on a journey to becoming whole. What documentaries afford us is an opportunity to just be around good, nice people.
Just a good couple of chords.
There are most certainly limits, though. On our way back to town, Ryan stopped by the hospital to visit a family friend. If I were that first-time novelist, then I could just write this scene out. We'd join Ryan and Rosie in the hospital room. We'd see their awkward small talk, or their tears, or whatever went on in there. Fiction, in a weird way, sometimes lets us closer to the truth. Not that I minded hanging out with Boots. Boots is awesome. But this is the inescapable nonfiction of this trip. Dinner made in a microwave. A generic landscape. A ceaselessly blinking light. If I were to write this scene out, I'd spend my nights in Denton fighting crime, or going to a seedy bar, or I'd find a way to open this creepy door that looks directly into my bathroom and discover a land of mystical creatures, or ghostly apparition, or maybe just a dead body. But no. The stories in my head remain the stories in my head.
That's probably what really keeps me from moving on from this place is I can't imagine going to a new place and trying to find another Ryan Becker. He was still performing solo even though we had a band, and I think told him I was just gonna start following him around to his solo shows and set up my drums. I knew he'd say yes because Ryan will play music with any of his friends. I almost think that's why Ryan plays music, is to make music with his friends.
There's something magical that happens when it's Ryan and Grady, just Ryan and Grady together.
Like, he's musically the most open-minded person I've ever met.
There's a distinct feeling that they know each other's strengths and weaknesses intimately.
You know, it's a lot of trust, especially when he's writing the songs. He puts a lot of trust in me or anyone else.
That they know when one of them needs to push forward or pull back.
And I think it's just a feeling we both want to get from music that make us want the same, interested in the same kind of music. And that's what makes us great partners, I think, is it's not a genre, it's not a sound, it's a feeling. I think of it as like we're having a conversation. And so we're sort of pushing and pulling and, you know, trying to, I think maybe a lot of it is like trying to get each other's attention while this song is going on. And, I mean, sometimes I feel like we could be like telling a joke to each other, and other times I could feel like we're fighting.
When Grady talks about RTB2, he talks more about Ryan than himself.
You know, he's like a raw nerve. I genuinely think it's more about how he feels and less about how he wants the audience to feel.
So it's clear to me that he's more than just the drummer.
I try and read people and sort of be the interpreter from Ryan to them, and not that he needs it or anything. It's just maybe it's a brotherly thing.
I see a lot of similarities between Ryan and myself, and so I suspect a guy like him would be happy performing for just the bartender his whole life, or sitting in his room, writing and writing and writing, living his life one song at a time.
This is in great shape. See, this is my problem. Yeah. This is it right here. Oh, he wanted me to show you something. Let's see if I can pull this off real quick. This guy behind me is like, what are you doing? Okay.
It takes a guy like Grady, who I suspect is not only Ryan's best friend, but his biggest fan, to spread the word.
I think this is it.
Bring the crowds in. That takes humility. That takes dedication. That takes love. You can replace a drummer. You can't replace Grady.
Ready?
Yeah. Are you gonna start?
I don't know.
Okay.
You are the soul in the cake we bake on Christmas Eve. We are the growing trees that can shed their dying leaves. They only see our colors change when the sheets are stained with ink. The wine in your mouth and the boat that never sinks. Oh, it's true. We will make it through. Oh, it's true. We will make it through.
I don't sleep well. I snore, though that seems far too quaint of a word for the ear-wrecking noises I make at night. It wasn't until you told me that I was waking up in the middle of the night, desperately gasping for air, that I understood the severity of the situation. In a flash, I understood why I was tired all the time. I understood why I could sleep for 12 hours and still wake up feeling like I hadn't gotten enough sleep. I understood why I could literally fall asleep in the middle of a conversation. I owe you my life, and I owe my cousin Mike my life too, because he gave me his CPAP machine. I go to bed wearing a Darth Vader-esque mask that pushes air into my lungs all through the night. And I know it changed me because when I drove 3.5 hours to Denton, I didn't get tired at all during the drive. I didn't have to slap my face or drink 5 cups of coffee or blast loud music or stop and do 20 push-ups just to stay alert enough to not drive off the road. I felt fine the whole way. Bored, certainly, but awake. So it's distressing to me that the past couple of months I've woken up in the middle of the night without my mask on. I'll wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning and see it laying beside me, loudly pumping air into nothing. Some self-destructive part of me doesn't like the mask, some part of me rips it off in the middle of the night. Some nights, maybe every night for all I know, you'll quietly shake me awake with the mask in your hands. I'll nod in my half-sleep and put it back on. A rush of air pushes its way into my lungs. Then I dream. I never used to dream.
Ask me a question, Grady. Ask me a question.
Why? How dare you?
Touching a paper doll. The trace on bended knee across the face, and then it's done. You told him
We've always said, Ryan and I have, if we get out and play a show, if we sold 1 CD, 1 record, then it's a success. Because that means we connected with someone. It's not the easiest thing to make a living in an original rock band, at least it's a lot harder than my 18-year-old self thought that when I first moved here. As long as the music's good, I think we're happy, or I am anyway.
Grady was coming out to some of my solo shows. I was starting to play solo shows more often. And, well, he just kind of started to know the songs, and he just asked to play. It started to sound like something, I guess. Like, I don't know. We were on to something, I don't know.
You handle a cat very weirdly.
It's yours.
Isn't it Tony's? Is this how you hold a baby? By the neck?
The best thing would always be just Grady and I, just the guitars and the drums, and you know. If my process slows down, then it kind of slows down the whole band. Even though Grady, he brings a lot. But now, how we were kind of piecing things together near the end of that new record, we're starting to do that kind of as the starting point of whatever new thing that we're starting, like that we're gonna do next. Where we get together, Grady has maybe a drum beat idea, or just like, I'm gonna do this and you kind of play this kind of rhythm with whatever notes you want to play, or I have a couple riffs that I saved on my phone or recorded on my phone, and we're piecing songs together. I get the feeling that we're going to be collaborating the most we ever have been with the next thing that we're going to do.
In my fantasies, I am a hero. I'm the one who sees the meteor crashing towards the movie theater, the one who flies up and stops it, inches from striking all of the innocent moviegoers, even the texters. I am adored, feared. I am stoic. I am the life of the party. I look good in spandex. I look great in a suit. But you don't need all that. I can see in your eyes some other man who could fulfill your needs without saying please. You don't need a man who saves the world. You need a man who speaks in more than sighs and silence. You need a man who hasn't been alone his whole life before you. A man who knows how to be not alone. You need a man who can tell you not to give up when it looks like you're about to give up. I don't know if I can be that man. It makes me feel powerless to even think about it. So instead, there you are at the lip of a volcano, hanging by just your fingertips after I've engaged in a battle for my life, and the life of the entire world for that matter, with an alien super being jealous of Earth's vitality, or a scientist driven insane by his own creation, or an evil clone of myself. After I deliver the killing blow, he throws you over the edge, because he had taken you hostage, of course, to lure me to him. But you grab hold of a ledge and I run to you in slow motion, and I lean over and see the fear in your eyes, but I am too strong and too fast and too determined and too aerodynamic in my spandex suit to let you fall, and damned if I don't grab your hand just as you lose your grip. And it's then that you feel the fatigue in your arm, like you couldn't lift a piece of paper if you wanted to. You feel the heat of the magma at your feet, inviting you to let go, to just let go and be at peace. You look at me then. You look tired. I look tired. And why do we always look so tired nowadays? And I say to you, or to me, or to us both, don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Oh, we discovered the finger.
Hardly Sound is brought to you by Sabrina Q. Mikan, dedicated to highlighting the life stories of musicians and artists who enrich the culture of Austin, Texas. Real Ale Brewing Company. Real Ale incorporates 100% malted grain, domestic and imported hops, and crystal clear water to create unique recipes. Find Real Ale all over Texas at your favorite bars, restaurants, and stores. Real Ale Brewing Company. Handcrafted ales from the Texas Hill Country. Kong Screen Printing. Kong Screen Printing specializes in high-quality art design, screen-printed apparel, and paper prints for bands, businesses, nonprofit organizations, schools, and sports leagues. Kong Screen Printing. Information at kongscreenprinting.com. A generous donation from Brad and Maggie Markham. And the Hardly Sound Alliance.